The rooftop route begins on the ground at the intersection of First Avenue and State Street. We had a destination in mind, so we kept moving, slipping past the tidy Brigham Young Historic Park with its meal and postcard-perfect gardens. But the park across the street, that one felt different. It didn't invite us in, it drew us in the way a whisper draws your attention even when you are sure no one spoke. We wandered along its silent paths, crossing bridges over still ponds and a thin ribbon of water that called itself a creek. But something about it felt wrong. The creek slid beneath a set of walking stairs and then simply ceased to exist. No trickle on the other side, no sound of water anywhere nearby, not even a damp patch of earth to suggest where it might have gone. It was as if the creek stepped under the stairs and vanished into a place the rest of the park pretended not to notice. The sign says City Creek Park, yet the only creek inside is a short, perfect stretch of water that looks less like nature and more like a clue, a hint placed carefully, deliberately, by someone who knew most people wouldn't question it. But once you notice it, you can't stop wondering what's really flowing beneath this quiet little park and where it goes when no one is watching. City Creek is everywhere in downtown Salt Lake, and yet somehow it's nowhere. It slips through maps, appears in plaques, hides in plain sight, a presence you are told is there, but one you can never quite catch in the act. A creek that exists more in name than in water, more in memory than in motion. Whatever it is, whatever it used to be, it leaves traces like breadcrumbs scattered through the city. A grate here, a whisper of running water there, a sudden coolness in the air where no shade should be. It's as if the creek is still moving beneath the city, choosing when to reveal itself and when to disappear. But that mystery will have to wait for another story, because now we are heading upward toward the rooftops where the city looks different, where shadows stretch longer, and where secrets have a way of rising to meet you. So we headed toward the church office building, our site set on the 26th floor, the place where the city supposedly opens up beneath you, where the grid of streets and the distant mountains line up like pieces of a puzzle you can finally see from above. Inside the lobby, everything felt too quiet, too polished, like a place designed to keep secrets rather than share them. We approached the first people we saw, two elder ladies with warm smiles that didn't quite reach their eyes. Their voices were soft, pleasant, almost musical, but their answer was firm. No. No entrance. No observation deck for wanderers like us. Only employees may rise that high. It was our first defeat of the day, and somehow it felt heavier than it should have, as if the building itself had turned its face away. They heard our accent, of course, they always do, even though this city has been home long enough to claim us, to shape us, to let us blend into its rhythm. Something in our voices still marks us as not from here. And the moment they sensed that, their smiles shifted. Not unkind, but knowing. They handed us a Temple Square map, the kind tourists fold and unfold until the creases become permanent. With gentle, practiced gestures, they traced out alternative viewpoints, places where we could go, rooftops that were allowed, angles of the city that were safe to see. But the way they spoke, it felt less like directions and more like a redirection. A soft, polite way of saying, not this building, not this height, not this secret. And as we stepped back outside, the air felt different, thinner, cooler, as if the city had exhaled after holding its breath. We still wanted the rooftops, but now it wasn't just curiosity pulling us upward. It was the sense that something up there didn't want to be found. Once we stepped outside the massive building, it felt like we crossed an invisible threshold. The air shifted. A thin, sweet fragrance wrapped around us. Tulips, cherry blossoms, the soft green scent of spring waking up. It was almost too gentle, too perfectly timed, as if the city had prepared it just for the moment we were turned away. Sprinkles hissed quietly in the flower beds, sending tiny arcs of water into the air. Each spray caught the light like a fleeting signal, a reminder of the creek that wasn't there and yet somehow was. Every droplet felt like a whisper from underground, a message rising through the soil. City Creek is still here. You just aren't meant to see it. But our minds were not interested in going down. Not anymore. Something in us wanted height, the kind of height where the city shrinks into patterns, where wind feels different, where eagles soar and clouds drift close enough to touch. It was as if the rooftops were calling, pulling us upward with the same quiet insistence the hidden creek used to pull us sideways. The flowers, the water, the soft spring air, they felt like a distraction. A beautiful one, yes, but still a distraction. As if the city was trying to soothe us, to keep us grounded, to keep us from climbing higher than we were meant to. But once you've been denied a secret, you only wanted more. And so we kept walking, following the scent of blossoms and the faint echo of water that shouldn't exist, heading toward the next rooftop, the next vantage point, the next place where the city might finally reveal what it's been hiding. After wandering among the spring flower beds that felt almost magnetic in their pull, we realized the city wasn't quite ready to let us go. The warmth of the sun, the clear blue sky, the soft perfume of blossoms, it all wrapped around us like a gentle insistence, stay here a little longer, as if the ground itself wanted to keep us close, keep us low, keep us from rising. And through it all, one presence towered above the gardens, above the walkways, above even our wandering thoughts, the Salt Lake Temple. Its high granite walls stood like ancient sentinels, unmoving, unblinking, and at the very top, the golden angel Moroni caught the sunlight in a way that felt intentional, almost watchful, not threatening but observant, as if he were guarding something or guarding us from something. Every time we looked up, the temple was there, its spires cutting into the sky like markers on a map we didn't yet know how to read. It felt less like a building and more like a presence, a guardian of stories, of secrets, of things the city keeps tucked between its streets and its shadows. But we kept moving anyway, pushing through the strange, pleasant resistance. Every step felt like walking against a current, not strong enough to stop us, but strong enough to make us notice. And then, almost as if the city finally signed and relented, a path opened. A quiet corridor between flower beds, a sliver of shade, a shift in the air, and suddenly we found ourselves standing before the Joseph Smith Memorial Building. It rose above us like a keeper of old memories, marble, glass, and history woven together. If the church office building felt like a door firmly closed, this one felt different. Not open exactly, but watchful, as if it was deciding whether to let us climb higher, whether we were meant to see the city from above, whether the rooftops were ready to reveal what the streets and the hidden creek would not. And so we stepped toward it, toward the next threshold, the next height, the next secret, waiting somewhere above the blossoms, the temple spires, and the blue spring sky. Inside the Joseph Smith Memorial Building, the atmosphere shifted again, not abruptly, but like stepping into a memory you didn't know you had. The first thing that reached us wasn't the sight of the hall, but the sound. A woman at the grand piano was playing something classical, slow, delicate, almost royal in its softness. Each note drifted upward and echoed against the high ceiling, filling the space with a calm that felt intentional, curated, protective. Then the hall revealed itself. Massive columns rose like marble giants, holding the ceiling with an effortless grace. Stained glass windows glowed with muted colors, casting gentle patterns across the floor. Blues, ambers, soft greens that moved like quiet spirits whenever the light shifted. People were scattered around the hall, not rushing, not talking loudly, just existing. Some sat on a deep, soft sofas, eating their lunch as if time had loosened its grip on them. Others leaned back with closed eyes, letting the music wash over them. The whole place felt like a sanctuary carved out of the city's noise, a pocket of stillness where the outside world couldn't quite reach. It was the kind of room that asked you to slow down, to breathe, to forget for a moment that the city outside was busy and loud and full of unanswered questions. And yet, beneath all that calm, there was something else, a subtle tension, a sense that this peaceful hall was also a gatekeeper, a place designed to soothe you, but also to distract you, to make you forget why you came. The rooftops were still calling, but the building wanted us to linger, to sink into its softness, to let the royal music blur the edges of our purpose. For a moment, we almost did. The elevator was shiny, quiet, and impossibly slow. So slow that it felt as if time itself had stepped aside to let us pass. Something was trying to deceive us. We were sure of it. The people around us didn't help the feeling. They didn't feel real. The relaxed, loose atmosphere of the hall seemed to cling to them, turning them into silhouettes, soft, blurred, almost ghost-like. If they spoke at all, it was in whispers, the kind meant to hide something rather than share it. Their words dissolved before reaching our ears as if the building itself swallowed their voices. When the elevator finally opened its doors at the top floor, the views were still hidden. The city didn't reveal itself immediately. It made us search. To the right, the famous roof restaurant glowed behind its doors, a fine dining world perched on the 10th floor, elegant and untouchable. To the left, an empty hall stretched out like a quiet invitation. We chose the emptiness, and the moment we stepped inside, the world opened. The breathtaking sweep of the Wasatch Range swallowed us whole. Jagged peaks rising like ancient gardens, their shadows spinning across the valley. Below them, the city lay in thin, delicate streets and rooftops arranged like a map drawn for someone else. There wasn't a single soul near us, not a whisper, not a footstep, just us, the mountains, and the strange, lingering sense that the city had swallowed us this moment, a glimpse from above, only because it wanted us to see something or wanted us to believe we had. For a few breaths, we let ourselves sink into the majesty of it all, the silence, the height, the feeling that we had finally risen above the secrets below. But even here, at the top, the mystery wasn't done with us. We began exploring the quiet hall. The place felt too calm, too empty in certain corners, as if parts of it were holding their breath. Curiosity tugged at us and we followed it. We slipped behind a set of closed doors, half expecting alarms or stern voices, but instead we found rooms, spaces waiting for weddings, anniversaries, celebrations. Our wandering led us toward the rooftop restaurant. Even before we reached the entrance, the smell found us. Warm, rich, delicious, fresh dishes drifting through the air like invisible hands, pulling us closer, and the views from the windows, they were just as tempting. For a moment, we almost surrendered. It would have been so easy to sit down, to let the city cradle us in this soft, elevated cocoon. But this roof was not the last roof on our route. We had to hurry because the city wasn't done with us, and the next rooftop was waiting, holding its own secrets in the wind above the streets. On the first floor, another trap was waiting. The garden restaurant, glowing warm and inviting on the ground floor of the Joseph Smith Memorial Building, nearly caught us. The smell of fresh food drifted out like a soft hand tugging at our sleeves, urging us to stay just a little bit longer. But not this time. We slipped past before the building could once again weaken our resolve. But before the next chapter opened, something small caught my attention. A lotus.